Good morning, everybody. This is Miss Amanda from the Lincoln County Public Library, and we are here to do some online STEM. So we are excited to be doing some science with you guys. We are going to do a sink float challenge this morning. And so we are going to take a look at lots of different items, and we are going to see if those items are items that are going to sink or items that are going to float. So we are excited that you guys are here with us today, this morning, to do our sink float challenge. It's pretty simple. You don't really need lots of materials, and all the materials that you do need, you should be able to just find around your house. So we're very excited to be doing some online STEM. We'll be doing some online STEM on Facebook Live every Tuesday morning at 10. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, guys. Every Tuesday morning at 10. And then we'll also be doing Story Hour every Thursday morning at 10. So we are going to start this morning with our sink or float challenge. So what you're going to need to do this challenge is you're going to need some water, some containers. I chose clear containers, so that way you guys can see really well if our items are floating or if our items are sinking. Bless you. You can see if our items are floating or if our items are sinking, but if you are doing this at your house, you don't have to have clear containers. Any kind of containers that you want will work. You could also use, you could do this same kind of thing, in a dish, or if you're outside in a pool or something like that too. So it is important that if you are doing this inside, that one, you ask your grown-ups, make sure that that's okay with them, and two, that you have a towel. If you're doing it inside, make sure you have a towel or something down, because it might get a little bit messy. So, all right, so you need a container with some water in it, and then you're going to need some items to see if they're going to sink or float. So we have lots of different items today that I just found around my house. So we have a cheese cracker. We have a little goldfish toy. We have another little toy. These are like little connector toys that you put together and you can make things. We have these at the library also. We have a Lincoln log. We have a magnet letter. We have a crayon. The wrapper came off this crayon, so we're gonna use him for our science experiment. We have a dog treat. We have a cherry tomato. We have a bath toy, little bath tiger. And we have some Hershey Kisses. We have an unwrapped Hershey Kiss, and we have a wrapped Hershey Kiss. And we're gonna see, and we have our reading ducks. Our little adventure duck. Little bath time duck reading an adventure book. All right, so we have all of these different items that we are going to see today if they are going to sink or if they're going to float. So in this container is just regular water. And I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off. All right, and we are going to see if these are going to sink or if they are going to float. So first we're going to start with our cheese cracker. So do you guys think the cheese cracker is going to sink or is the cheese cracker going to float? All right, let's see. I'm going to move this camera down just a little bit here. Let's see. There we go. All right, so cheese cracker experiment. We are going to see if this is going to sink or if this is going to float. Are you ready? Here we go. All right, let's see if it's gonna sink or float. It's gonna float. Awesome. All right. Now we are going to test. Let's take him out here. Oh, Aria, you were right. It did float. It did float. All right, so we're going to take him out, put him over here because he was floating. All right, now we're going to try our little goldfish toy right here. All right, we're going to see if our little goldfish here is going to sink or float. If you guys are watching, you can put it in the comments right now if you think it's going to sink or float. Our little goldfish toy. All right, let's see. Oh, I think we have a vote for float. Let's see what happens. See if he's going to sink or float. Oh, he sank right down to the bottom. Yep. There we go. All right, little fishy. I'm going to take him out here. And see, this is why we need our towel right here, because it can get a little messy. So we're going to put him over here because he sank. So over here, these are the items that sank. Over here, these are the items that floated. Right now, we're 1 for 1. All right, so we are going to test our bath tiger. Bath tiger here. All right, and do you guys think that he's going to sink, or do you guys think that he's going to float? Bath tiger, let's see. Let's see what he's going to do. We're going to put him in, and he is going to... What's he doing, everybody? He's floating. He's floating. All right. So we're going to put him over here with the cheese cracker. So far, the tiger and the cheese cracker have floated. All right. How about the crayon? Do you guys think the crayon is going to sink or the crayon is going to float? And it could depend on the kind of crayon, too. All right. I think we've got a vote for float. Let's see what happens. It's floating! It's floating. Can you guys see that? It's floating right there on top of the water. All right. So we're going to put that over here with our cheese cracker and our tiger. Those are all floating. Let's take a look. What about our cherry tomato? Oh, Aiden and Aria, you guys were right. That crayon floated. All right. So we're going to try this cherry tomato now. And we're going to see if this cherry tomato is going to sink or if it is going to float. Let's take a look here and see if it's going to sink or if it's going to float. Oh, what happened? It sank. It's sitting right down there on the bottom. It sank. It sank all the way down to the bottom. All right, we're going to take it out. All right, so it's going to go over here. Our cherry tomato and our fish both sank. All right, let's try our Lincoln log next. It's made out of wood. Let's see what's going to happen, if it's going to sink or if it's going to float. What do you guys think? Sink or float? Let's take a look. It's floating. Can you guys see that? It's floating right on top. All right, so it is floating. So it's going to go over here with our crayon. So we have a Lincoln log. Oh, yep. Good job, Aiden and Aria. It did float. So Lincoln log, crayon, bath tiger, and cheese cracker have all floated. And our cherry tomato and our goldfish have both sank. All right, let's see what we've got next. We are going to try our Hershey Kiss. Let's try the one that's unwrapped first. So it's just an unwrapped Hershey Kiss. We're going to put it in the water and see if it sinks or floats. So you guys want to make a prediction. Think about if you think it's going to sink or if it's going to float. And we're going to try it out right now. Are you ready? Let's see. Sink or float. Oh! It sank all the way down to the bottom. So it's going to go over here with our cherry tomato and our goldfish. It sank. All right. How about a wrapped Hershey Kiss? So that one was unwrapped. We're going to try a wrapped Hershey Kiss, see if that makes a difference. Let's take a look and see. Is it going to sink or float? Sink or float. Ready? Oh, it sank all the way down to the bottom. There it is, down on the bottom. Oh, yep. Adrian Cole. Yep, it sank. Hey, Adrian Cole. Oh, man, it sank down to the bottom. All right, let's see. How about, all right, we're going to try this toy, this connector. I think it's called Brain Flakes. We've got these at the library too. So we're going to try this out, see if it sinks or floats. What do you guys think? Make a prediction if you think it's going to sink or if it's going to float. All right, we're going to try it out. Are you ready? We're going to put it right on top. We're going to see if it sinks or floats. It floats! It floats. There it is, right on the top.
And that's getting bigger.
There it is, floating right on the top. So we're going to put it over here with all of the things we've tried so far that float. So our bath tiger, our cheese cracker, our Lincoln log, our crayon, and our connector, they all float. Hello, good morning, Kaden and Kenzie. Hi. Hey, Wyatt. It's good to be with you all this morning. I'm so excited that you guys are all here. All right. So we are going to try our bath duck. This is our bath duck who's reading an adventure book. All right. So do you guys think that our bath duck is going to sink or float? Sink or float? What do you guys think? All right, we're going to put him in and see. Are you ready? We're going to put him in and he's going to float. He's going to fall over, but he's still floating. He's floating on his side. It still counts. All right, so he is a floating, oh, he doesn't want to float. He wants to float upside down. He is a floating duck, so we're going to put him over here with all of our floating items. All right, and let's see. We are going to try our dog biscuit next. So here's our dog treat. Do you guys think the dog treat is going to sink or float?
Sink.
Sink or float?
Float.
All right, let's find out. We're going to put it right here on top, and it's going to float. It's going to float. All right, so it's going to go over here with all of our floating items. All right, and I've got one more item. This is a magnet letter. Do you guys think it's going to sink or it's going to float? Our magnet letter S. Let's see what it does. It's going to float. It's going to float. It's getting a little bit of water in it though. And I think if it gets a little bit of water, if it gets too much water in it, it might sink. Do you guys want to see? Let's test it out. That's my theory. That's my guess. Let's see if it's going to sink or float. If it gets a little bit water in it. Uh-oh. It got too much water in it, and now it sank. It sank all the way down to the bottom. So we're going to kind of put that in the middle because it floated a little bit, and then it sank a little bit too. So, all right. So that is our sink and float, and we have another sink and float experiment that you can do. So one thing that you can do is you can get a container and fill it with water. This is just regular water. If you're doing it inside, again, I highly recommend you use a towel because this can get kind of messy. And you can just find items around your house as long as you ask your grown-up that make sure that it's okay. And you can find all sorts of different items to see if they're going to sink or float. And then we are also going to make a boat. So I'm going to close this container of water up. This is just a little container of water here, and I have a bigger container of water over here. And this container of water is going to be a little bit wider, and so it's going to be a little bit better for our boat. So we're going to make a boat, and you can make a boat. I'm sure that you guys can think of lots of cool things to make a boat out of. I'm going to make a boat out of some aluminum foil. So this is a boat that I made, and I'll show you guys how I made this boat. It's pretty simple. Basically, I'm using aluminum foil because I know that it's a light material. And basically you just want to make sure that you fold your sides up so no water can get in it. So you're going to take a piece of aluminum foil. And you are going to just kind of fold up your sides a little bit.
You making a bigger boat?
And just fold up your sides a little bit. So you just keep folding and folding and folding. And some people like to make them look kind of like a bowl. Some people like to make them look more like a rectangle. If it's more like a rectangle, it might look kind of more like a raft than a boat. And that's okay because you just want it to be able to float. So we're going to take our boat. We're going to make sure that the sides are all up, 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 up. Because if water gets in your boat, what's going to happen to it? That's exactly right. If water gets in your boat, it's going to sink. So we want our boat to float. All right, so I'm going to take my aluminum foil boat here, and I'm going to set sail here on my little container of water. And there we go. So it's floating on the top. But I want to test my boat. I want to see how many blocks I can fit in my boat before it sinks. I want to test my boat and see how strong it is, okay? So I'm going to take some of these blocks and I'm going to put these blocks in my boat and I'm going to test it out and see how strong it is. All right, so so here's my little plastic block. Oh, let me show you this too. So the little plastic blocks float in the water. So how many of these little plastic blocks do you guys think I can fit in my boat before it is too heavy and it sinks? How many plastic little blocks do you guys think we can fit in our boat before it makes it sink? All right, let's find out. Are you ready? There's one. Oh, we're doing okay. Two.
Yes.
3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I want to see if it can hold 10 blocks. Oh, Kenzie says 5, Kaden says 7. Oh, let's see. And Kylie hasn't picked yet. All right, I want to see if it can at least hold 10 blocks. Let's see, we're up to 6. And it right now, look, you guys can see it's still floating. So let's see, we've got 6 in there. Here's number 7. 8. Oh, 9. 10. It can hold 10 blocks. Very, very cool. And it's still floating around. All right, I've got 2 big blocks. Let's see if it can hold 10 little blocks and 2 big blocks. Let's see. So here's one. Let's bet on this one first. Big block. Oh, it might tip it over. Oh. Let's see if it... It can hold a big block. All right, I'm going to put this smaller big block on top of this big block. Do you guys think it's going to sink or float with this on top? Let's see. Oh, it might tip it over. Oh, now we're learning about balance. Let's see. Let me see if I can balance this right here. Oh. Uh-oh. It can't hold it. It's too much. Look what's happening. What's happening? Oh, with the 2 big blocks, it was too heavy. And now, oh no, all the blocks are floating, but there's water in my boat. Oh, and it tipped over. Oh no. Oh no. And now my boat is sinking. All right, so I want you guys... Oh, there we go. All right, so you guys sometime this week, if you ask your grown-ups, might be able to make a boat and try to put some blocks into it, or put some, if you don't have any blocks, maybe you have some coins or some beans or something else that you might be able to put in your boat, and see how sturdy of a boat you can make, and see if you can make your boat float, and see if you can test it out and see if your boat is really, really strong. So, all right, thank you everybody for joining us today for online STEM and for our sink and float challenge. And you guys can come back next Tuesday, 10 a.m. We'll have more online STEM. And on Thursday morning at 10, we will have online story time. So thank you guys so much for joining us today for our sink and float challenge. And we will see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.